All right, we're live.
Okay. Okay, so let's start then.
Okay. Yeah, so starting with the prayer, who would like to say that?
I can do that.
Okay, cool.
Dearly Father, we're so thankful that we could meet tonight. We're so thankful for the technology that allows us to meet, and please bless that we can gain a lot from this discussion tonight. And we say thank you in Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay. So then any volunteer for the spiritual thought?
Well, recently I've just been thinking, like the whole situation with getting married and everything. It's an awesome, great experience. I recently got married about 2 months ago. I think you did too, Kevin, right?
I mean, 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, we're hitting 3 months in the next 2 weeks. But it's just been interesting to like growth that takes place, especially like really just having to rely on the Lord with financial aspects, with like school, just growing as a couple and everything. Like it's made me really just rely on the Lord and just trust in His plan. So I think just a reminder to just trust the Lord that He knows what's going on better than we do.
That's true.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Okay,
Well,
let's
you have to do that when you're a bishop.
Yes, I'm sure
Certainly.
you do.
This is actually my second time as a bishop.
It's your second time,
Wow.
really.
Yeah, well, the first time I was branch president. It's the same
Okay.
kind of work, but I spent 13 years.
Wow.
13 years, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And then I was called to a stake presidency. And then I thought, well, I'm going to have vacations for a while, but no. They just called me as a bishop here. But it's
Wow.
okay.
Keeps you busy.
It's same thing as getting married.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, Kevin, like you were saying, I'm pretty sure we're missing some like papers or documents.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very first question, like number 3, I like was like reading through that over and over again, and I still don't know what it's like referring to, but it says review the summary data from the negotiation results. Is that talking about the second page that they sent with the confidential from Maxwell?
So I think what happened is we were supposed to be split into teams. So one of us would be like DPV, and we would be negotiating with another team, and the other team would be
Amute,
MuMate.
the company.
Yeah, so it looks like they didn't. I mean, the teacher didn't put us into 2 things, so I don't know how to answer some of these. I kind of answered a few of them, but like you said, I don't know how to answer number 3 because I don't think we were given the information.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
I was just super confused on these questions, so it kind of frustrated me. But
Because in order to answer number 3, you had to be put into teams.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. To
exactly,
make the evaluation.
exactly.
Because also in the questions it's mentioned in a spreadsheet, and also that we need to work with a spreadsheet. But we had just 2 different documents. I don't know if it was for our own calculations.
Maybe,
Or-
but I honestly I don't know. But I'm pretty sure we're missing some kind of document.
What I understand is that we also do some imaginary calculations because there is no value for the company. Also, I couldn't find how much money they invest. It only says that each one of the girls split parts in 50-50,
Yeah.
but it doesn't talk what amount of money they were investing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think Kevin, you were hitting Kevin from California. It's so difficult sometimes. But you were saying, I think we were supposed to be split up in 2 different groups.
Yes.
And then one group was supposed to come up with the valuation for the company, and the other group was supposed to come up with the valuation for the VC. And then we were supposed to compare those valuations and kind of see like where each group thought like the company should be valued at. But I think what we need to do is just kind of go over what we could do for question 3 is like review the summary data. We could just go to like the second document we received and look at the Astoria Partners and Prosper Fund valuations and kind of just talk about where the company and where the VC should be putting a value on the company, on MuMate.
Okay.
So I think that's what we should do.
All right.
Okay. So then the Astoria partners were telling us that they will spend $7.5 million in pre-money valuation, and the Prosper Fund $4.5 million in pre-money valuation.
Yeah. And then Astoria was saying they wanted the 25% of the stake or 25% equity in the company. And then Prosper Fund was going all the way up to 40%, which I was like, shoot, dang.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's especially for like a Series A round like funding. That's pretty high.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with Prosper.
No.
So which team had the highest pre-money value? Well, that was Astoria.
Well,
right?
If we take into consideration DuPage, they said that they can spend an average of $1 to $5 million to an average company. And then if the company is able or have the forecast to raise more than $50 million in revenues, they can spend within $3 to $10 million.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of hard because we don't have any data at all on DPVs, the VC. But I think we kind of just need to estimate where they would, what their pre-money valuation would be with them and what their ownership stake would be. I know they were saying in here that typically DuPage does 20 to 30% equity stake, which I thought like they should go in negotiating about 25%. And I feel like that would be a good equity stake, especially if they can keep both partners as board members.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I thought that was pretty important.
Yeah, I thought DuPage was the best choice for them.
I agree with it.
And they also had a pretty good track record. Looking at the information it says on them, they had an average of a 25% pre-tax IRR. What else was it saying? Achieved top quartile investment performance since founding in 1988. So I mean, they're obviously doing really well.
It also mentioned that their general partners had extensive contacts and prior experience.
There's just a lot to go over. So I think we should just jump to number 4. And maybe 2 of us just take the DPV side, and then 2 of us take the MuMate, the company side, and then we'll kind of just talk about each one. I think all of us should be able to input because we're not really in groups, but 2 of us should just take the DPV and the other one take the company.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can talk about the DPV, the VC.
Yeah, I can as well. I wrote some stuff about
I
them.
convened the Astoria Partners and Prosper Fund side.
Or do you want to, because question 4 is the DPV, and then question 5 is the MuMate.
Yeah. I can take question 5 if you want.
Okay. Yeah. Luis and Kevin from Guatemala can take question 5, and then Kevin and I will take question 4 and kind of talk about that.
Okay, this is going to be like NAFTA. NAFTA negotiation.
Yeah. So question 4 says choose a student. So Kevin and I, what were your goals for this negotiation? I mean, if I was the VC, I would be trying to obviously shoot for like a 30% equity in the company, investing in like 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Probably with a pre-money valuation of like 5 million or 6 million, in that range, I would think. And I feel like that would be a pretty reasonable pre-money valuation.
I agree.
Giving them like an 8.5 to 9 million post valuation.
You said 2.5 million? I think that was the amount they wanted, right? Or they needed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then I actually do think it would be a good idea for them to have a member on the board, because it mentioned Ed Rodriguez. He had a lot of experience in investing in brands like MuMate. And then who's the other guy? Cantor, I think.
Yeah, Cantor.
I actually think he should be on the board as well, because he had background. He worked in Nestle, and it mentioned that he would be on the board, but he wouldn't have voting rights. So I just think having him on the board would be beneficial because he could have a lot of great input.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't see why there couldn't be 4 board members in this case.
Yeah.
I mean, typically I think it said like 3 to 4 board members is average for a startup company like this, just starting up. And if they had the 2 co-founders and then Condor and Rodriguez as the board members, I feel like that would be pretty reasonable for both parties involved.
Who's the CEO though? I can't remember his name. I think he might have to be on the board though too, right?
The CEO was one of the co-founders. What's her
Jeremy
name?
I think it was Jeremy Dent.
It's Maxwell. Sarah Maxwell. She's the CEO.
Yeah,
But
Sarah was the CEO.
I thought the co-founders hired Jeremy Dank and brought him on as
Yes.
I think they just put him on as like a marketer.
Okay.
Yes, but they offer him 10% or 5% each.
Yeah, they gave him a 10% equity stake. So they gave Dank's 8 years of brand marketing experience equipped him to take over MuMate's channel marketing function.
Oh, okay.
So I think he mainly just started building like a network of distributors and everything.
Okay.
So I think Sarah Maxwell was still the CEO, and I think she should remain the CEO of the company as well.
I agree. But yeah, then I think having those 4 on the board is perfectly fine to me.
Yeah. And then like an internal rate of return for the DPV, DuPage. I think a good internal rate of return. Obviously, it said they're averaging 25%. I think that's what they should shoot for. Is obviously if they're averaging that, they should just shoot for 25% with their internal rate of return.
I agree.
And then the next bullet point was the board seat. We went over that. How important is this deal to DuPage? Once in a lifetime, pretty good, or pass?
I said it's an okay opportunity because the case mentioned that. So the case mentioned that the national distributors wanted MuMate and large grocery chains. The national coffee shop chain wanted to test it, and if the test went well, then it would put in 800 shops. And then a vending machine company wanted it in 300 upscale gyms. But I don't think it's a lifetime, once in a lifetime opportunity, just because I'm looking at their cash flow and it's negative up until about 2015, and then their projected revenue of 8 million. I don't really know where they're getting that from. So I don't really see it as like a once in a lifetime thing. I think they could probably make money out of it, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. I mean, I would totally agree with you saying that it's not a once in a lifetime thing, but I would say it's a pretty good thing. Um, and if they do their negotiations right, they should be able to land a pretty good deal, knowing that this company's always already growing at a pretty good rate. And with a little bit of capital, they should be able to grow at a larger, um, at a much more rapid pace, becoming a lot more national. So then, does MuMate fit your investment focus? And I would say, typically, yeah. I would say it does fit their investment focus, especially because, like, the guys that we would be putting on as board members have experience in this industry.
Yeah.
And I would definitely think it would be a good investment focus for them.
And I kind of mentioned they invest in businesses that are expected to make 50 million in the next few years. And so based on MuMate's projections, and if the projections are accurate, then it should fit. And yeah, I'm sure they would still invest even if they didn't hit that 50 million, or they weren't expecting to hit 50 million soon. If they were pretty close, I'm sure they would invest.
Yeah, because it says they're in their forecast, at least by 2015, they were projecting 50 million to 26,000. So yeah, it would be a great opportunity for them. So I guess we can jump to question 5 now, unless anyone has any other comments on the VC side of the deal.
No,
Nope.
it's okay.
No comments. Number 5, it's asking us just to see all the options from the MuMate perspective. So first of all, it is asking us to write down in order of importance, specifically going with the deal terms. Seen from MuMate perspective, if we go with the venture capitalist options, having Astoria Partners, which is taken up one of the co-founders of, which is Taylor, last name Taylor, I don't remember the name. It's Angela Taylor, taking her off. And also the Prosper Fund, which is taken the venture capitalist raising funds at 40%, and as well having 25% on closing of the shares vesting.
Yeah.
I would say the best option from my perspective, having from MuMate perspective, to have the still Sarah Maxwell and Angela Taylor on the board set will be just to go with the DuPage option, because that will be the most reliable from my perspective. So Luis, what do you think?
Well, it is a hard decision for me, because one thing that I noticed is that they don't want to lose control of the company. It's something that they really matter, because they know that if they lose control, they probably will be using some raw materials with low quality. So they are trying to keep their quality a premium quality. But if they do that, it's obvious that they are going to have to wait much longer to make the company bigger. So what I think is that if they can, I don't know, to obtain the a good deal where they don't have to give so much stocks from the company, then it's going to be good for them. What they don't want to do is to lose the control of the company. They want to keep the equity for them. So I guess that's the bottom line of the negotiation. They have a good product, as I can see. Also, it is an imaginary product, but it is a good one. They already survive in the most hard part of when you're raising a company. That there is the 2 or 3 first years, and they are ready to grow. So if they base their negotiations to keep the control of the company, I think they're going to be fine. So I think that the question says, did the co-founders see things the same way, or were you focused on other interests? I think that for me, the bottom line is deal terms. That's the most important thing.
Yes, I agree with it, because if they lose the control of the company, I mean, they're going to be able to use the same materials, the same raw materials for the beverages they will be producing. Since if they go with DuPage, they can get off from 25% of shares from the company, but still they will have 75% control over the company. And also, DuPage share, sorry, DuPage, it's allowing them to have still Sarah Taylor and Angela Taylor and Sarah Maxwell inside the board set. And yes, and they are able to get the same pre-money evaluation. If they comply with the forecast, they will be able to get from DuPage a valuation between $3 to $10 million. And since MuMate needs just $2.5 million, having that forecast, they will be able to get what they want. Because also, going with just the venture capitalist story or Prosper, something very important, I was reading the option pool, since they're having for Astoria 17.5% of fully diluted shares, which is making them to lose more of the shares of the company. And also Prosper will have 12.5% of fully diluted shares. Also, that's kind of risky for the amount of money they need to lose that amount of control over the company. Because in the end, 12.5, and then Prosper or Astoria will be able to purchase back those 12.5, which will be converted into a 20 or 25% more ownership of the company. In the end, they can remain just with 50 or 40% control over the company. So as you said, Luis, I agree with the deal terms will be the most important thing, to go with the DuPage option instead of going with the venture capitalist.
They could even consider to A and a Series B of actions in order to the Series A with the amount of money that they receive with the B series, and sometimes that works pretty good. There's a company here in Mexico. Well, I don't know. It's the most important TV company in Mexico, Televisa. They are passing through a really bad time right now, but 20 years ago, when they for the actual one, they did that. They joined with another company, and then 5 or 6 years later, they bought again the actions, the equity, and they obtained the control of the company. So, but that was because they made a good negotiation, and the deal terms were correct. I'm currently having a friend here in Mazatlan. She had a school, and then she went with a venture company, and right now the school in the last couple of years has grown so much that she's losing control of the school.
That's not good.
Because of the terms, and I think that thinking about that, the deal terms is the most important part, because you need to see. Obviously, it's a guess, but you need to see to the future to get the best deal, the best possible deal.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have any other comment for question 5.
One thing I thought of while you guys were mentioning that was when Maxwell, she was talking to her attorney, and her attorney even threw out the idea of maybe doing a smaller Series A, and maybe you could even like negotiate like, okay, maybe we just need like 1 or 1.5 million right now, and we'll still have a little bit negative cash flow for right now. We're still making a profit, but cash flow is negative because we're bringing in all this capital. But then when you try and do a Series B, a larger Series B, you've grown more, and then your shares your share price is going to go way up, and then you're not going to have to give as much equity away as well, as what her attorney was saying. So I thought that would be a pretty good idea too, if they can make it work with their cash flows.
That's right. Then we go question 6.
Yeah, let's do it. So ask the MuMate side, how did the Astoria and Prosper term sheet affect your negotiation strategy?
Did for me.
Well, that will make them to, if we go with these terms, they are providing us, Astoria Parents and Prosper Fund, if we go and agree with their terms, we will be ending up losing the company. Because they want to get more and more equity from the company just since the beginning. And just for the amount of money they are providing, this company can be worth it quite more of what it is right now. So if we go with these terms, I would say this will affect in a very high tragedy just going with those options.
Yeah. And I think what MuMate should do, what the company should do, is like use what they received from Astoria and Prosper to negotiate the best terms possible with the other one, DP, whatever it was, I can't remember, DuPage. They should use those terms and be like, look, this company gave us a post valuation of 10 million with only a 25% stake. And this company, they're going to allow us to have 4 board members. Can we negotiate somewhere in between and get like something that works best with our needs? And I think they should use both sides of those VC sheets and try and get the best deal possible out of DuPage.
I agree.
Yes.
Me too.
So what are the pros and cons of Astoria Prosper and seeking capital from angels? So Astoria and Prosper, we've kind of covered that pretty extensively already, saying their stakes are high or they're wanting too much equity in the company. But as for capital from angel investors, we haven't really talked about that at all.
No, but there the cons is time. It's going to take them more time.
Yeah.
That's what I put.
Basically, that's it.
But with an angel investor, it would result in less dilution, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it will have less risk, but the growth rate will be less as well.
Yep.
Yeah, which makes me a little concerned right now, just because they have so many people that are already attracted to MuMate, because I mean they have the celebrity that had it out or whatever had a picture with MuMate, and then everyone all of a sudden just wants this product. Like investors are flocking to them saying, hey, look, let us do this for you, let us put it in a vending machine. I think they need to get that rapid growth. I was kind of leaning towards just doing angel investors to keep that equity stake, but at the same time they need that rapid growth to support the demand for their product.
I agree.
Because this is actually the momentum of the product. If they're not going to position that product right now, they will lose that, target market they already got.
Yeah.
And they have the risk that another person creates a similar product also.
Yes, that's a very
competition comes with a product, well, a similar product, because they don't have a patent or nothing like that. They just have a secret recipe, and somebody can create something similar. And they can lose the moment.
That's true.
Yeah. That's a really good valid point. Okay, so jumping on to number 7, how did the VC go about valuing MuMate? So what exit value were they expecting? As for like an exit value, I'm trying.
I think it kind of depends on their exit strategy. Did they sell, an IPO? Do they liquidate assets? It depends on how that exit strategy depends on what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I wasn't exactly sure how to evaluate them on that. But the next question was saying, from that exit value, how much money did they need to receive in order to get 5 to 10 times on their investment?
It was a lot of money. For
Yeah.
a story, the calculation, it was within $37.5 million to $75 million. And for Prosper, it was 22.5 million to $45 million. That's
How did you get those numbers, Kevin?
And I just, because it says on their investment. So since they were pre-evaluated for 7.5 or 4.5, I just made the calculations times 5 and times 10. So to get the margin.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So a big number.
It's a lot of money just by investing 7 and 4 millions, ending up with 75 or 45. Just imagine the amount of shares they will be able to have. I mean, if they continue investing in the company. So I mean,
yeah.
That's go ahead.
Yeah, because like it's kind of like what Kevin says. I mean, if they were to, for example, if they were to go with Prosper Fund, and Prosper all of a sudden receives a 40% equity stake in the company, and then the company sells out for, because we have some examples of what some of the other companies sold for at the very bottom of the first sheet. This is all sideways, but the acquisition value for some of these companies was like 66 million, like 316 million, 246, 116 million. And if they're going on, and if they were to like, if the company sold out and they had 40% of the company, then let's just say they sold out for 150. I mean, you're looking at a $60 million exit value there if they were to sell out. Yeah. Which, if they did that and they invested, how much was it saying they were going to invest? 3 million. So 3 million times 10, that's 30 million. They're getting well over 10 times their investment at that point if they sold out for 150 million. So I think that at a 40% equity, that would be crazy.
Yes.
So then that third bullet point was, what share of the equity would that dollar amount equal? Like you were saying, I guess it depends on their exit strategy.
Yes.
This is kind of another question where we weren't. I don't think we were given enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we have the information.
Yeah. But if, I mean, I mean, you could just like run random numbers, I guess, real quick. If they invested like 2.5 million into it at like I just did, if they had an exit strategy and they were sold out for like 150 million and they had a 25% equity in the company, I mean, they're going to get 25% of that equity before like interest and sales tax and all that. So in a dollar amount, I guess you'd have to just like kind of run some numbers real quick, but like 150 million times 0.25, that's $37.5 million in an equity stake of 25% of $150 million, or yeah, $150 million sale.
The thing is that we don't have the pre-value of the company.
Yeah.
So it's hard to calculate because we don't have the pre-value, and we could place any value that we want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I'm like, that's really hard because you really
it's
like.
kind of confusing because we don't have a pre-value.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We know where they want to go. They want to go to a 50 million sales, right? In 2015. But we don't know the pre-value, so how we calculate that? That's.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. That's difficult. And then the last question was, what other means did the VC use to value the company? Share your spreadsheets and talk us through them. We didn't get a spreadsheet, so.
No.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's referring to our own spreadsheets or what, but I think we could just skip that question. I mean, other ways to value the company, you can talk about growth rates. You can talk about their contribution margin at that time, and look at all those different things that the company is doing right now.
Mm.
I guess we can just jump to number 8. What have you learned about bargaining tactics?
Well, I guess if you're MuMate, then I think a great bargaining tactic would be to leverage your other offers, kind of like what you were saying earlier, Kyler, that you use the other offers as a way to, get DPV down for equity stake, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because actually that's the next part of the question, that if MuMate should disclose that they have some other offers, so that can be a helpful tool to show up everybody offered to the other offers that we have, so that we were able to get what we want, because we are able to show that a venture capitalist is not the unique one interested in our deal, so we can position our terms as well, so that way we'll be able to get advantage.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's general. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I follow you.
Okay. I feel like that's like a general thing with sales too. I mean, I've been doing sales for like 2 years, and I like sell credit card machines to businesses, or I sell the processing with the credit card machine. And like I'll go in and I'll evaluate their business and how much they're processing a month, and I'll give them a quote on how much I can save them on a monthly basis. And then a lot of times what the business owner does is they'll go find another company and be like, oh, look, this company offered me this. What can you do? And it's just like the same thing here. Like give them a counter offer and be like, this company offered me something better, or this company can offer me this. Can you match that? And use what other people are giving you to negotiate a best offer.
I was going to say something like that, but it's also sometimes it's risky because there's I don't know. If I pull too much, I may lose the opportunity to,
Right.
because the other part of the negotiation is not willing to the bargain game, but it's effective. I've been selling cars for 20 years, and I know it's effective. And when you place a sign in a car and it says sold, and you put it on the exhibition room, there's going to be people asking for that specific car, although it is sold.
That's funny.
So it's like it is. Even it's a strategy of sales. I'm telling you, this is sold, but if you give me something better, I'm going to sell it to you, and people go after that. So but sometimes it's not as effective as it is. No, but I mean, it's the beautiful thing about negotiation. It is that you are playing a game, and you have to be sensitive, and don't pull too much sometimes, or sometimes make like you are losing the deal. That is not a good deal, and the other party is winning, and you are letting them win. but really you are winning.
Yeah.
Those bargain negotiations are effective.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a great point. So the next bullet point, do hardball tactics make sense in a negotiation like this?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I was going to say they need to show that they're willing to, like, MuMate needs to show that they're willing to put a high valuation on their company and be willing to defend their product and be like, no, like you only deserve this amount of equity, and they need to be strict. And I feel like that's going to show also that they want to maintain control of that company as well.
That's true.
And they have a good product.
Yeah.
They have a good product. That's what they are going after them. but as I feel it, the VC company is been looking for them to get them. I mean, they wouldn't go with the VC company. The VC company came to them.
Yeah, they had several companies come. So.
Yeah.
All right. So, any other thoughts or points on that you guys have? If not, we'll jump on to number 9.
No.
That's what I put.
All right. So, number 9, discuss key takeaways. So, terms allocate economic and control rights, which, yeah, we've kind of talked about that already. Luis was saying, like, you've got to make sure those terms are set.
Right.
Right.
And then the next bullet point, conflicting priorities of investors and entrepreneurs in upside and downside scenarios. So, I mean, like you got to set like priorities when it comes to these different investors. Like you have Astoria and Prosper and then DuPage. Obviously, your priority is going to be DuPage because you still have negotiations available there. And then you need to look at the upside and the downside of what could happen with each one of these VC firms.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do a forecast so that way we can evaluate what will happen in the end. Because if we just go with what may seem the best option, we may end up just listing our company. Just we need to go and evaluate the different options we may have. I mean, checking our priorities as well as the investor priorities so we can do a match. That way both sides will be winning. Because one owns the product and the other one has the money to make that product bigger than what it is currently. So we need to look at both sides to match and provide, I mean to do a win-win side. I mean for both parties to win, but we need to check for the right terms to go with. So that way both can win.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we've kind of covered everything. Terms have a price, and then VC valuation techniques. Different techniques. Obviously, you can, like you were saying, you can look at the forecast. Yeah, you can look at the forecast. You can look at the growth rates, and do all that as well. So I guess we could kind of just wrap it up and do a quick summary. Do you guys think?
Yeah, I would say that.
Yes.
All right. So, quick summary. I believe we're all on the same page that they should probably go with DuPage and do some pretty, pretty hard negotiations with DuPage to try and get exactly what they want.
Okay, I agree.
Yes.
And I guess that we also agree that they go to obtain the faster growing possible, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I think that's true.
Because if we go with the forecast by raising revenues more than $50 million, we will be able to get from DuPage an investment from $3 to $10 million, getting just 25% equity from our company, and keeping our board members on set so that we can keep growing the company with the original receipt and not changing it.
Okay.
Yeah. And we want to make sure like those terms, the deal terms are set pretty strictly. That obviously we don't want the VC taking like a 40% equity in the company. We want to make sure that we have both co-owners as board members, with a good pre-money valuation as well. Hopefully around like 8 or 9 million.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Anything else that we should mention real quick in the summary?
Yeah. Just the thing is, if we let the venture capitalists go with our deal, we will be ending up losing the company because the terms will damage our strategy. In this case, to retain the company as well and retaining the majority of the shares. So we must be, as you mentioned before, very strict with the terms, and also to advise them that we have more offers, so that we can set up as well our terms to get the best deal for them and also for us.
Yeah, agreed.
I think bringing up the fact that angel investors are also coming after them, have that in the negotiation as well. And then they can just say, listen, we can go to these angel investors and we'll keep more equity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that would actually be like, honestly, like a really good strategy in trying to get better negotiations, going out and being like, hey, like our equity is important to us. Like if you're not going to give us a good deal when it comes to the equity percentage, we're just going to go to these angel investors that are coming to us and we'll get the money elsewhere without losing equity.
Yes.
That's true as well.
I think that's an awesome point, Kevin.
That's something that they 3 or 4 different opportunities to obtain money, but they don't have to rush to negotiate. They can they have the points to make a solid negotiation on their favor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that about covers it. I think we're good.
Sounds good.
Yes.
That was a good group discussion. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to you guys. Where,
Yeah.
where are you at, guys? I know I'm in Mazatlan, but where are you?
I'm in Guatemala.
Okay, Guatemala City.
Mm-hmm. The capital.
I've been in Antigua once,
Really?
many years ago, right? And what about you, Kevin? California, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm from Northern California, Sacramento area.
Sacramento, okay.
Yeah. And then
where are you?
I'm in Rexburg right now, finishing
Okay.
up school here. So
Good.
yeah, I've got 2 semesters left. So pretty close.
Same.
Almost done.
Yeah.
I still need 1 year and a half. Not so far.
Yeah. I'll be ready when it's over. To get out. I don't want this cold weather, and it's already coming.
Well, I'm in about 92, 93 degrees right now.
Oh my gosh.
That's hot.
I'm wearing shorts.
Yeah, me too. But I'm in a warm house.
And I'm on air conditioning because there's no way to stay otherwise.
Yeah, that's hot.
It's really hot. It's really warm right now.
Yeah, I served my mission in Argentina, and I had plenty of hot, humid days.
Okay, but here I have it all year long.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
you got it all year.
Okay.
All right. Okay, thanks, guys. We'll plan for next Tuesday at 9 o'clock then.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send over the link.
Yeah. Okay, good for me.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Have a
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much
See ya.
for letting me join. Bye-bye.
Bye.